Have you ever pondered on the silent cries of a loveless marriage? It's a question that might seem unusual, but it's one that needs to be asked. Because beneath the surface of many seemingly perfect relationships lies a reality that many are unwilling to confront, the reality of loveless marriages. What is a loveless marriage, you ask? It's a relationship where the spark of love, once bright and burning, has been reduced to mere embers. It's a union where respect and affection have been replaced with indifference and neglect. It's a household where conversations are no longer filled with laughter and love, but with silence and unspoken resentments. But how does a marriage, once filled with love and promise, find itself in such dire straits? There are myriad causes, but some of the most common include unmet expectations, lack of communication, and unfortunately, infidelity. Unmet expectations can slowly erode the foundation of a marriage. When dreams of a shared future start to crumble, so does the love that once bound the couple together. Lack of communication, on the other hand, creates a chasm between partners. Without open and honest discussions, misunderstandings flourish, leading to a breakdown in the relationship. Infidelity, the most painful of all, shatters trust and breeds resentment, often leading to the death of love. But why does all this matter? Why should we concern ourselves with the inner workings of a loveless marriage? Because the importance of love and respect in a marriage cannot be overstated. These are the cornerstones of a successful union, the glue that holds a couple together. When love and respect are absent, the marriage ceases to be a source of joy and becomes a source of pain. Loveless marriages, a silent epidemic, are more common than one might think. It's a reality that many are living with, often in silence. But it's a reality that needs to be acknowledged and addressed, for the sake of those caught in its grip. Meet John and Jane, the picture-perfect couple on the outside, battling an unspoken war inside. On the surface, they were the embodiment of marital bliss. Their smiles were wide, their laughter was contagious, and their shared moments were seemingly filled with joy. But beneath this veneer of happiness, a different story was gradually unfolding. In the early days, their love was palpable. They were two souls intertwined, sharing dreams, hopes, and a vision of a life filled with shared joy. Their conversations were profound, their silence was comfortable, and their disagreements were respectful. But as the days turned into months, and the months into years, an invisible wedge began to drive them apart. The conversations that once flowed effortlessly began to feel like a chore. The silence that was once comfortable became a deafening reminder of their growing emotional distance. The disagreements that were once resolved with mutual respect became heated arguments that left them feeling drained and disconnected. What was once a love story was gradually morphing into a tale of two strangers living under the same roof, their hearts miles apart. The shared dreams were slowly replaced by individual pursuits. The common goals gave way to individual aspirations. The shared joy was gradually overshadowed by individual happiness. John and Jane were not just drifting apart emotionally, but they were also losing the essence of their connection. The shared moments were reduced to mere formalities. The laughter was more of a mask hiding their inner turmoil. The smiles were a veil concealing the pain of a loveless existence. The realization of living in a loveless marriage didn't come as a bolt from the blue. It was a gradual process, a slow unraveling of a bond that was once strong. It was a silent war they were fighting, a war with no winners, only casualties. Behind the smiles and shared dinners, John and Jane were slowly drifting apart. Their story is a poignant reminder of the unspoken reality of many marriages. It is a call to acknowledge the importance of love and respect in a relationship, to nurture it, and to never take it for granted. The effects of a loveless marriage ripple out, touching more than just the couple involved. Indeed, the consequences of such a union are far-reaching, affecting not only the emotional well-being of the couple, but also their physical health, their children, and their extended family. The emotional distress that comes with living in a loveless marriage can be immense. It's akin to a constant, gnawing ache that refuses to subside. This emotional turmoil often leads to depression, as the joy and fulfillment that should come with marriage are replaced by a profound sense of sadness and emptiness. Alongside the emotional distress and depression, there's also a significant blow to the individual's self-esteem. The thought of being unloved by the person you've chosen to spend your life with can be a harsh blow to one's sense of self-worth. This can result in feelings of worthlessness and a lack of confidence, which can seep into other areas of life, affecting jobs, friendships, and overall quality of life. The effects of a loveless marriage don't stop at the couple. The children, if there are any, are also significantly impacted. The home, which should be a haven of love and warmth, becomes a battlefield of cold indifference or heated arguments. This unstable environment can lead to various issues in children, from behavioral problems to difficulties in forming healthy relationships in their own adult lives. Extended family members are not spared either. They often find themselves caught in the crossfire, torn between loyalty to their loved ones and the uncomfortable reality of their loveless union. The societal implications of loveless marriages are also noteworthy. It sends a message that love, respect, and mutual understanding, the very foundations of a healthy marriage, are optional. This can perpetuate a cycle of unhappy marriages, as others, especially younger generations, may come to view this as the norm. The toll of loveless marriages goes beyond just the couple, affecting the mental health of everyone involved. It's a sobering reminder that the decision to stay in a loveless marriage is not one to be taken lightly. It's a decision that carries with it a heavy, far-reaching burden. What happens when nagging becomes the only form of communication? Let's look at the story of Sarah and Mark. Sarah and Mark were once the epitome of a blissful couple. Their love story was one for the books, filled with sweet moments and shared dreams. But as years passed, the fairy tale began to crack, revealing a harsh reality. Sarah's nagging became a constant backdrop to their life, while Mark's indifference grew with each passing day. Sarah wasn't always a nagging wife. She used to be a woman full of life, laughter, and love. But as the dynamics of their relationship changed, so did she. Sarah started nagging out of frustration. She yearned for the attention and affection she once received from Mark. But the more she nagged, the more Mark retreated into his shell, becoming indifferent to her needs and feelings. Mark, on the other hand, wasn't always indifferent. He used to be a man who cherished Sarah, who loved her with all his heart. But as Sarah's nagging increased, his affection decreased. He began to see Sarah not as his loving wife, but as a constant source of stress and negativity. His indifference was a defense mechanism, a way to shield himself from the constant barrage of complaints and criticisms. The love they once shared was replaced by a toxic cycle of nagging and indifference. Sarah's constant complaints and Mark's growing apathy were like two opposing forces, pushing each other further away. The more Sarah nagged, the more indifferent Mark became. The more indifferent Mark became, the more Sarah nagged. It was a vicious cycle that neither of them seemed able to break. In the end, their marriage became a battlefield, with Sarah's nagging as the relentless assault and Mark's indifference as the unbreachable defense. The love that once bound them together was buried under the rubble of resentment and indifference. Their home, once filled with laughter and love, became a silent testament to the ruin of their relationship. Sarah's constant nagging and Mark's growing indifference was a recipe for disaster. Is there a lifeline for loveless marriages, or is it the end of the road? In the face of towering obstacles, it's human nature to seek an escape route. But what if the challenge is a loveless marriage? Is there a way back to the heartwarming embrace of love and companionship? The answer is yes, but it's not an easy one. It requires a commitment to change and the courage to confront uncomfortable truths. Therapy can be a powerful tool in this journey. A skilled therapist can help couples untangle the web of resentment, indifference, and hurt that often envelops a loveless marriage. They can guide you towards understanding, empathy, and hopefully a renewed connection. But therapy alone isn't the magic solution. It must be accompanied by open and honest communication between partners. This involves not just speaking your mind, but also truly listening to your spouse's feelings and perspectives. It's about acknowledging their pain and your role in it, without defensiveness or blame. Along with communication, patience is key. Healing a broken marriage doesn't happen overnight. It takes time to break down walls, rebuild trust, and rekindle affection. It's a journey filled with setbacks and victories, tears and laughter, anger and forgiveness. And through it all, it's crucial to remember that the goal is not just to save the marriage, but also to find happiness within it. Sometimes, though, despite all efforts, a marriage might not regain its lost love. And that's okay. It's important to understand that individual happiness is vital too. If a relationship is causing more pain than joy, then perhaps parting ways is the most compassionate choice. So is there a lifeline for loveless marriages? Yes, there is. But it's not a one-size-fits-all solution. It's a path that requires courage, commitment, patience, and above all, a willingness to change and grow. While difficult, it's not impossible to rekindle love in a seemingly loveless marriage. Love and respect can make or break a marriage, a simple truth often forgotten. In the grand tapestry of life, it's the threads of love and respect that weave the most vibrant and resilient patterns. They are the lifeblood of any relationship, especially a marriage. Without them, the fabric of a marriage becomes worn and threadbare, unable to withstand the stresses and strains of life. To love is to see the beauty in another. To respect is to acknowledge their worth. In a marriage, these two qualities should be as natural as breathing. They should be the foundation on which every interaction is built, the lens through which every disagreement is viewed, and the balm that soothes every hurt. However, in the whirlwind of life's demands, it's easy for these vital elements to get lost. We may forget to show our love or neglect to give the respect our partner deserves. Before we know it, we're living in a loveless marriage, a hollow shell of what once was. But it doesn't have to be this way. Love and respect are not finite resources. They are renewable, regenerative, and can be cultivated even in the most barren of landscapes. All it takes is a shift in perspective, a commitment to change, and the courage to seek help when needed. We've talked about the realities and consequences of loveless marriages, the unraveling of a perfect couple, and the destructive cycle of nagging and indifference. If you find yourself relating to these scenarios, remember, there's always hope. Reach out to a trusted friend, a family member, or a professional counselor. Open the lines of communication with your partner. Begin the journey of healing and rebuilding. The power of love and respect can transform a loveless marriage into a thriving relationship. It can breathe life into a withered bond and rekindle the spark that once was. It's a power within your grasp, a power that begins with you. Remember, it's never too late to seek love, respect, and happiness in a marriage.